All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another top of the list review. I'm Dom, joined by my best friend Ryan Barnett over here. So this is the first review that Ryan and I will be doing together. We saw that we got quite a more views than we're used to on my review of Dark Season 3. So we figured, hey, why not try something else? And something me and Ryan had both seen recently is Hamilton. Premiered on Disney Plus recently, and both big fans of musicals. And we just wanted to kind of give our short opinions, what we thought, what songs we liked, what was our favorite song, just kind of stuff like that. So let me hand it right over to you, Ryan. What do you think about Hamilton? Anything interesting you have to say?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely a monumental streaming event coming out, of course, July 3rd. And Hamilton, for those of you out there who are unfamiliar about founding father, Alexander Hamilton. So, rightfully so, coming out for July 4th weekend. A very, very enjoyable film, more a filmed, or it is a filmed version of the stage play, not a true motion picture, but very, very enjoyable. A little background, I personally had seen Hamilton when it came to Los Angeles. My family all went together to go see it.
Cool.
Um, Very enjoyable, but a masterful job of cinematography and editing. Of course, seeing it in person is very neat, but being able to see up close with the camera work, the angles that they brought, sort of an unprecedented look compared to seeing it in person. And of course, as well, to see the original cast, Daveed Diggs, Lin-Manuel Miranda, just to name a few, Christopher Jackson, just really incredible. The people who originated the roles, seeing them play it was really exciting. So well done. Disney Plus and Lin-Manuel Miranda on the collaboration to put this out too. Couldn't have come at a better time with maximum boredom going on with the pandemic going on.
Yeah. So when you saw it in Los Angeles, that was not the original cast. That was the touring cast.
Correct. So it was the touring cast. A little background though. I have seen Lin-Manuel Miranda in person. I saw him when he toured with In the Heights a few years earlier, which was his first big show before Hamilton. Knew to expect something big with Hamilton when it started the talks because In the Heights was so great. Didn't nearly expect to see it get as huge as it was, and I'm so happy that it is. So happy that Lin-Manuel Miranda, a guy with such amazing talent, is getting the recognition he deserves.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's one of my favorite parts about Hamilton, and of course, I think we have to go right into it. The music is obviously the main attraction here, and so here's kind of my interpretation of it. I've seen a few videos on YouTube where um, Manuel Miranda himself has said the meaning of the reason he wrote Hamilton is because he feels like Alexander Hamilton is the embodiment of the hip hop movement.
Yeah.
I think we both kind of agree on this, Ryan. He grew up from nothing. Basically, he was an orphan, like they say in the beginning of the play. The first line, they explain everything about his background right there, and he comes up and he becomes a founding father. But he kind of dies before his time. To not to give it away, but I feel like everybody knows this from
Yeah.
history class. And that's another thing. So maybe you could touch on that, Ryan. I also have another question for you to kind of jump off of too. Is this an accessible play to you? Do you have to have studied Hamilton to understand this, or do you think it's accessible to everybody?
I think it's very much accessible to everybody. That's what is great about this play is it has a little bit of something, or this musical, I should say. It has a little bit of something for everything. I mean, the music extremely enjoyable, but Alexander Hamilton, even before Hamilton was a play, he's not your traditional, snooze through history class sort of story. He's a very captivating. He has a very captivating story from birth till death, really. Not what you expect from a politician or a traditional founding father. Of course, roots in the Caribbean. Was able to sort of, like we said with hip hop artists, use the pen to sort of write his own, as one of the songs mentioned, write your own deliverance. He writes his way to fame from nothing. So definitely a captivating man. Actually, so in eighth grade, I know we both had Mr. Moore for history in eighth grade. I wrote a paper on Alexander Hamilton, one of my favorite icons in history. Always was interested in who this guy on the $10 bill was. He's not a president. Why is he on a dollar bill or a $10 bill? And just sort of got into it and the whole did research articles on, his relationship with Aaron Burr, and it's all really interesting stuff, not to mention with Lin-Manuel Miranda's score making it even that much more captivating.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's kind of I love the way you explained it. That's pretty much the way that he kind of you know feeds the audience all this, because maybe some people like for example my mom and dad, they haven't been in history class for a long time, so he kind of uses the hip hop music to kind of feed the audience, what all the backstory is and everything around it. And so I think I want to just say I like the message a lot, but here's a few of my favorite parts, and then maybe you can mention a few of your favorite parts, Ryan. Obviously, I feel like every number is a blockbuster hit, absolute jam, a banger, as the kids are saying these days, Ryan.
That one's over my head. I'm glad you prefaced that.
Okay, great. So yeah, I think that all the songs in this are pretty amazing. Um, Let me just maybe give two or three of my favorites. Opening number, Alexander Hamilton, incredible. Obviously, gets you right into it, gets everything you need to know. That's it's uplifting, it's sad, it's empowering all at the same time. And then you get into Aaron Burr, another one of my favorites. But I think my favorite part is when they do "No, I'm not throwing away my shot." I love that part. That's one of the most uh like you want to like in the net they go rise up. Like that part is really cool too. You kind of feel like you're rising up with the colony. It makes you feel proud to be at least somewhat related to American history, right? And
Absolutely.
so I think those are kind of my favorite parts. And then for my pretty much my what became my favorite song, even though I didn't really remember listening to it before from I have it on Spotify, the music. But what became my favorite song is "The Room Where It Happened," sung by
Leslie Odom.
yeah, Leslie Odom Jr. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's probably one of my favorite parts in this play, as well as Christopher Jackson, the guy that plays George Washington. He's also incredible. Everyone's incredible in the whole play.
Yeah.
Really, a stellar cast. What are your favorite songs in this play, Ryan? Any standouts?
Yeah, so I think going into this episode, this was the toughest part for me in preparation because, like you said, every number just through and through. I mean, this is a musical in its truest sense. There is no dialogue. It's song after song after song, and yet it doesn't get old. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to pick out certain songs, but just certain performances. I think, of course, the opening number, fantastic. I also am a huge fan of. Oh man, let me get the name of the song here. Satisfied. Renee Elise Gouldsberry is fantastic in this as Angelica Schuyler. She is fantastic. She sings, she raps, and she does it all. And I think that song is sort of the embodiment of that. I mean, she does everything in that song. On top of that, the choreography in the song, where they're sort of dancing in reverse from everything that happened in the previous number, is pretty cool. The choreography, that's another thing in this musical, is stellar. I mean, yes, you have a whole cast of brilliant actors, but then behind them you have these choreographers that are doing the entire show in hip hop interpretive dance, and yet you're locked in. There is not really a set change in this throughout this entire musical, and yet you're locked in, and the set is really these incredible dancers in the background telling the story as our main cast is singing or rapping. So, I mean, every song, the choreography, nonstop, of course, which, for any musical fans out there, the big song before intermission, that's, of course, this song. You have every cast member on stage sort of singing a different part, and it all comes together. But I'd like to say in Act 2, and even in Act 1, he's brilliant. I think who steals the show is Daveed Diggs. Splitting the role as Marquis de Lafayette in Act 1, and then Thomas Jefferson in Act 2. Two really completely different characters. Marquis de Lafayette, sort of this scrappy, wanting, like Hamilton, to pull himself up and raise his social status. In America, history, background, Marquis de Lafayette was disgraced in France. That's why he left to come to America. He's amazing. The French accent, I don't believe he has any French roots. I think it's all
No.
acted, and it's incredible and completely believable. and then he comes out as this sort of swanky Thomas Jefferson jazz R&B singer in Act 2, and he plays it perfectly. I mean, if you told me they were two different actors, I would believe you, because it's a complete 180, and he does it perfectly. A couple other actors do that in this play. Obviously, John Lawrence comes out and plays Philip Hamilton. We see Hercules Mulligan. These, of course, characters' name. I don't have the actor's name.
Played by Anthony Ramos.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Anthony Ramos. This one, good luck with the name. Hercules Mulligan goes on to play James Madison, and Peggy Schuyler goes on to play. Yeah, you. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butcher your name, buddy.
So I've watched some of the Hamilton specials on Disney Plus. He goes by Oak, so we'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome at rapping. I hate to cut you off here, Ryan, but I do want to give a quick shout out. You were talking about David Diggs here. I know I just recently recommended this film to you, but a film that he and I think it's Rafael Casal, the other main actor in this film, Blind Spotting. They wrote it, produced it, and they got another great director to direct it. It's an absolutely fantastic film. If you enjoy Hamilton, if you enjoy David Diggs, if you enjoy movies that deal with I guess you could say racial stereotyping and racism in America, then I would say check out Blind Spotting.
Yeah.
Definitely a great performance by David Diggs and Hamilton as well. Now, I know we've been saying a lot of positive things, but I do want to bring up couple things where I think the play stumbled slightly.
Okay.
And I think I am going to give a number score. I don't know. I know we didn't discuss that earlier, but I'm going to give a number score. I'm going to give this one like a 9.5. I feel.
Yeah,
like.
I agree with you.
Okay, good. That's about where you are too.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So I think I just give it a little half point down. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I think that the Schuyler sisters number, I like the music, I like the singing, but I feel like, obviously Peggy kind of goes into the background throughout the play a little bit. But the two sisters, Angelica and what is it? The other one?
Elizabeth, yeah.
Yeah, I think their dynamic becomes interesting, but I feel like they kept saying that they kind of at least alluded to that Hamilton was also in love with Angelica, but they never kind of followed through with that. They just had a few hints at it. So that part was a little confusing to me, as well as the part where he finally gets blackmailed for having the affair with, I forget the name of the lady.
Mariah Reynolds.
Mariah Reynolds, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the Reynolds pamphlet.
Yeah, and I feel like, I think that when they play these like affair part of the stories, it's played for comedy, thankfully. But for me, it felt like I wanted to get back to more of the drama, which was really keeping me into it. I don't know.
Okay, so I'll touch on a couple of these points. So I agree with you completely. I think Peggy is supposed to fall into the background. She very much does. Love the dynamic between Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Schoolsbury, who play Angelica and Eliza Schuyler. It's interesting. I don't know if you've listened to the Hamilton mixtapes.
No.
They're a group of remixes that after this came out that Lin-Manuel Miranda dropped with different R&B artists singing. I know Satisfied Beyonce does a version of Satisfied in it. But one of them is a song called First Burn that I believe was the original lyrics of the song Burn that was much longer. And he has all 5 of the actresses who played Elizabeth Schuyler. So I think it's like the first national tour, second national tour, the original cast, the Australian cast, and the English cast. And they all sort of sing it together. But it alludes more into that Eliza Schuyler was aware that Hamilton had eyes for his sister, but she was sort of just blinded by the love, as it seemed like everyone was. I know we talked about Indiana Jones in one of our previous episodes and how he was sort of this fox, that all the ladies pined after. That's how Alexander Hamilton was, at least how it was put. There's the line, Martha Washington named her feral tomcat after Alexander Hamilton because he was kind of just a player, a ladies' man, and everyone wanted to be with him. So I think
Right.
she probably knew. But I will say, and once again, it's history. You can't change history. You don't want to write the characters out. I do think I don't agree with some of Eliza Schuyler's decisions,
Okay.
so to speak. And I understand the 1800s were different times, but the fact that she sort of stays with him and gets back together with him, and if you look up the timeline historically, it was very fast that she forgave him for the Mariah Reynolds scandal.
Right.
I'm not sure I necessarily like the messaging behind there, and she sort of proves to be his faithful servant. Even after he dies, that's the whole final song. She does everything for him. She lives. I think she ends up living till like age 90. She
Wow.
lives
Yeah.
50 years after he dies, and she raises funds for the Washington Monument. She speaks out against slavery. She establishes the orphanage, which was her for Alexander. I just feel like that's not necessarily the strongest female character, but of course you have to stay accurate to history,
Right.
and that is what she did. Lastly, though, I don't necessarily think that the scandal scenes, the affair scenes, are comedic at all. I find them very dark.
Okay.
Um, I mean, especially with you have the chorus sort of serving as Hamilton's conscience, begging him not to have this affair with Mariah Reynolds. And I find it a very dark scene. It's very ominously lit. And all the way you feel the pressure building on Alexander Hamilton from what we know when the three guys sort of approach him and tell him they know, and he has to admit because they think um, he's been speculating with this guy James Reynolds, and he has to admit to the affair. You just sort of feel the pressure building on him. I didn't think they were used as comedic relief at all.
The part I'm talking about is when I feel like the song was a little bit out of place to me, with out of tone with the rest of the play. When he first meets Mariah Reynolds,
Yeah,
right?
say no to this.
Yeah, I can't say no to this. And he's talking about like, oh, but her body's so fine and stuff like that. That felt kind of like out of a place for me at least. But I get what you're saying. It was a good song still. But that
Yeah,
was kind of the part of this play that I felt was a little strange to me. But everything else was like lightning in a bottle, honestly.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, there should be no question why this is getting the attention it's gotten, both as a stage play and now the Disney Plus version.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more positive thing I wanted to say too was that I really think that the spinning in the middle of
Oh
the
yeah.
that I couldn't believe the stage directions were
Hmm.
incredible, fantastic, and for the actors to work with that
Yeah.
also really incredible. But before
Well,
before we go, Ryan, I do want to end on this. I know you might have something to say
I do.
here.
I do have one more thing.
Okay, go
Can
ahead.
I just? So let me reference back to the turntable. Of course, it's brilliant. The actors, the choreographers, being able to work with that, but also the lighting. I love how they light it up whenever it's moving, so you're able to identify that as an audience. Of course, in a big play like this, big musical, lighting. All these people, they play such more a poignant role than in film because it's you don't have multiple shots, you don't have post editing. This is all happening live, day in, day out. So I think that's always impressive, and those people should be called to. A big thing right now is make sure when you watch Hamilton, you watch through the credits because a lot of these people with Broadway being closed are out of jobs, and it's important to call attention to the stage managers, to the directors of lighting, to the directors of staging,
Right.
set builders, and whatnot. The other thing I just wanted to talk on, my favorite part of
Sure.
this musical, I love the cabinet battles. The rap battle cabinet battles
Oh
are
yeah,
incredible. I remember
incredible.
the
Yeah.
first time I heard the CD, I was like blown away by this, and then seeing it in person, and now seeing David Diggs and Lin Manuel Miranda do it on screen from Disney Plus is awesome. So I'm gonna end it there. 9.5 out of 10, definitely for me. I could talk myself definitely into giving it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I feel like I could also do the same. But we do have a little bit more time, and I want to kind of end the show on this. Maybe we can talk about a little bit of the controversy behind this, Ryan, because I think you and me mostly agree on. I know that there's two sides to everything, but we kind of just wanted to give our thoughts out there, and this is kind of the reason why we wanted to make this video. We saw that there was a little controversy out there, and we just wanted to say we think that at least I wanted to say I think this is a play you should, or a musical that you should still go see despite the controversy. And I think that that goes with anything, whether it's, our top of the list reviews. We're always out there and we say, go and see something and then have an opinion on it, right? Go and play a video game first and then have an opinion on it. Don't just read other people's opinions and have an opinion on something you've never seen before or have any evidence to back up, you know. So I think that's the reason why we wanted to make this video, put our opinions out there, so then you can also form your own opinions once you see it and see if you agree or disagree with us. So what do you think about the controversy out there right now, Ryan?
This, and I've heard a lot of Lin-Manuel Miranda speaking towards this. This is definitely a musical that was made in a time that I would, for lack of a better term, say there was a lot more, I mean, not lack of a better term, stability in this country. And, definitely a lot of positives going on for minority populations in this, in the United States. Of course, it was made during the Obama administration. Barack Obama, a huge fan of Hamilton, went and saw it on Broadway multiple times. And of course, this was performed at the White House. In fact, I believe the opening number was performed by Lin-Manuel Miranda at the White House as a slam poem. It was not even a song yet, and that's sort of one of the first iterations of Hamilton. It was presented or performed in front of Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Obviously, tides have changed right now. The world is not what it was when this came out, and I believe it was 2014, I believe, was the year when Hamilton came out on Broadway.
This recording on Disney Plus is 2016.
Okay, but the show and the creation of the show by Lin and all these amazing people.
Yeah.
And I understand some of the frustration behind it from the people who are behind the hashtag cancel Hamilton. There are a lot of this musical puts Alexander Hamilton on a pedestal. It puts him up that he was an immigrant who was able to overcome all of these, disadvantages, and was very, he was an abolitionist and he was in front of his time. And not all of these things are historically correct. For example, Alexander Hamilton was not an abolitionist. He believed in something called manumission, in which people had the right to, and he said people should let their slaves go free, but he didn't ever say anything about slavery being abolished. His family, it's debated if he ever owned slaves, but the Schuyler family, his in-laws, always owned slaves. Thomas Jefferson, of course, owned slaves. James Madison,
But then again, Ryan, you have what I think people are looking at that and like, yeah, sure, that's the historical part of it. And when you're the same thing as when you're in a movie, and same thing when you're in a musical, you have to have a little bit of this a suspension of disbelief a little bit. You're watching something fantastical happen. Maybe it's a slightly exaggerated, which it is, because think about it. Thomas Jefferson is played by an African American individual, as well as a few other. Aaron Burr in the original in the original cast, he's an African American.
In I believe every cast. Yes, I mean that's what's special about Hamilton is it allows, and Christopher Jackson talks about this, how his mother, or he was raised by his grandmother, and his grandmother always spoke to him and said, you can be anything. You can be the president of the United States, and how special it was to go back and tell his mother when he was told that he would be playing George Washington. That's what's special about Hamilton is it opens our eyes to something that we never thought we would see, and that something that we wish we could have seen. Unfortunately, the history of this country and a lot of countries are based in slavery, and it's something we should be ashamed of, and something that is very interesting to see this portrayal. That being said, I do understand what you're saying, though, in the sense that that's what the message is behind this musical. It's not Alexander Hamilton was the greatest immigrant, and rode his way out all time, and he believed in no slavery, and I'll give the example. It talks about it in the musical too. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda faced it straight on. Hamilton was desperately wanting to, outrun his station in life. He wanted to be so much more than he was. He was always, ashamed of being this poor orphan immigrant. He wanted to hide it. That's not something necessarily that we want, a younger generation of first generation Americans to see that you have to hide your background to get ahead in life. But I definitely see your point of view, and I understand the point of view of others as well. But I do agree with you. This is a great, great musical, a great teaching moment for a lot of people to step back and watch it and understand what is happening on stage.
Yeah, and I couldn't have put it better myself, Ryan. I think we should close it out on that. If you guys liked anything in the video, please leave a like, click the like button down below. Drop a comment. What you think about Hamilton? If you have you seen it? Are you looking forward to seeing it? Maybe you don't want to see it. Let us know down in the comments below. If you have any recommendations for further reviews, please let us know. We're thinking about maybe Palm Springs, trying to do a review since Tenet has been delayed indefinitely. But we'll talk about that on the next top of the list. So please don't forget to subscribe for more videos. We're dropping reviews. We're dropping Monday top of the lists. Trying to keep the videos going. Try to fight back the boredom between Ryan and myself. And we'll see you guys next week. Later.